Hello and welcome to the 11th day of April 2023. My name is Cyril Aloysius and this is the newspaper review here on TAF TV. Mr. Victor Sioku is the person here once again to look at the papers with me today. Mr. Victor, how do you do?
I'm all right, and how about you?
Yes, I'm good. And I think we are still in the season where we say Happy Easter, right?
I think
Mr. Victor,
happy Easter Tuesday.
Happy Easter Tuesday. So how was your Easter, Mr. Victor?
It was nice.
When is the rice and chicken?
Ah man, we finished that, man. That is long gone before, okay? And I think I would say I had a cool weekend. I had time to watch football, and it was also glorious to see Chelsea lose.
Mr. Victor, must you look for a way to bring in disheartening stuff into this happy moment right now? You just spoiled my mood. Anyways, I think I'll shake it off because I have to shake it off right now. But it was a sad experience for Chelsea, and of course the returning Frank Lampard, who had his second return to the club, and yes, he didn't get off to a good start because he lost 1-0 to Wolves. And it got a lot of Chelsea fans asking, wouldn't it have been better if Bruno Sauter was left there to continue the job? No. It's not about we always complaining. It's about the facts. What is the fact? Because we saw the game against Wolves and we weighed it up with what Chelsea played against Liverpool. And we felt like, okay, I think Chelsea were better off with Sauter in charge than Lampard coming, because it became obvious that probably all the experience that Lampard had gathered over his first job in Chelsea, and then his time at Everton, didn't really amount to anything much, because even when he went to Everton, he almost dragged them down to relegation zone, and now he's left. So I wondered what motivated the move to bring back Frank Lampard. But that's by the way, because
Chelsea can sack Conte. As overqualified as Conte,
okay,
sack Tuchel. Who else can you guys?
But don't forget, these managers were sacked for major reasons.
Okay.
The issue of Conte, Conte let go of one of the very best strikers in Chelsea as at that time, in the person of Diego Costa, and brought in somebody that could not live up to that reputation. And it cost us a lot.
Costa that he left.
Okay.
That has moved to Wolves. Who is Diego? See,
obviously, you don't expect.
You always complain.
You don't see Mr. Victor.
You don't expect him to be better.
You don't expect
playing with
a player of Costa's caliber. Yes, when Costa was at Chelsea, Costa was in his 30s. He was in his 30s. So you can imagine. Just check the number of years he spent away from Chelsea after he left, before he returned back to the EPL. So Costa right now shouldn't be the Costa that we used to see then. So obviously his performances now for Wolves shouldn't be something of a surprise. But that's by the way, because today's discussion is not on football.
Somebody that went to Atletico Madrid. I better go ahead.
Mr. Victor, please, let's not go there. Let's not go there. All right, so today we'll be starting first by looking at the Daily Sun newspaper, where we have some interesting headlines here. And this one on page 6 says, the boldest headline in Daily Sun says, Clerk calls for minister's arrest. Clerk calls for minister's arrest. Trial over treason allegation. Clerk calls for minister's arrest. Trial over treason allegation. Accuses Lai Mohammed of spreading fake news against Obi. Okay, that story is on page 6 of Daily Sun. And on page 24, we have concerns grow as Nigeria's foreign investments decline for third straight year, down 20.5%. Concerns grow as Nigeria's foreign investments decline for third straight year, down 20.5%. Okay, that story is on page 24 of the Daily Sun. Over now to page 28, we have Buhari leaves for Saudi Arabia. Buhari leaves for Saudi Arabia. And on page 27, we have Obidients must bear attacks as sacrifice for new Nigeria. That's Obi saying. He says Obidients must bear attacks on sacrifice, for new Nigeria. Says efforts to demarket movement will fail. That's Obi saying on page 27 of the Daily Sun. On page 28 now we have CAN slams makers of peak milk over insensitive Good Friday advert. Khan slams makers of pig milk over insensitive Good Friday advert. Okay, that story is on page 28 of the Daily Sun. On page 27, we have Ebonyi. Ogba, PDP differ on 2023 polls. Rally support for Governor-elect Winfield. That's on page 27. On page 6 and page 29, we have any Muslim aspiring for Senate president disrespectful to leaders. Buhari, Tinubu. Okay, that's according to APC NWC member. Why Kalu should occupy the seat. Okay, that story is on page 6 and page 29. And still on page 29, this one says, oh, I'm sorry, I beg your pardon, on page 26 now. Lastly, on page 26, we have Kanu. Kanu won't abandon struggle for Biafra. Kanu won't abandon struggle for Biafra, according to IPOB. Queries Supreme Court's silence over appeal. That story is on page 26 of the Daily Sun. All right, that's the much we can take in the Daily Sun for today. Mr. Victor, I'd like to get your reaction to this particular headline here on page 24. It says, concerns grow as Nigeria's foreign investments decline for third straight year, down 20.5%. How do you react to this?
It is not a new thing, coming from the fact that we've seen our economy go so down. Are we going to talk about the inflation rate? Are we going to talk about the magnitude and the latitude of poverty in the land? Okay, so coming up with these numbers, will I say, is synonymous to what has been happening. Okay, but when you now go into the details, you find out that it is a big shame that our private sector is suffering so much. Okay, so much that people cannot get loans. Banks are not ready to give people long-term loans. If you go to the bank, the kind of the processes that you go through to get a short term, they are not ready for anything long term, because they know that the economy itself, in fact, the ground that we are standing on is so volatile that they might just lose their monies. So what is this talking? It's saying that for the past 5 years, that the public sector has been growing by 100% in terms of credit, but that of the private sector has grown only 100% for the last 5 years. And mind you, I'm saying growth, and people will be like, okay, now it's growing. But see, the growth we are talking about here, when you put in consideration of inflation, you find out that those growths means nothing, because we're already running on inflation of 20%. Okay, that means when you do the math, you find out that for the past 5 years, we've not really grown our private sector.
You haven't really made any progress yet.
Yes. So you also find out that the foreign direct investment has really dropped. Okay? Then you now ask, why all this for a nation like Nigeria that is blessed?
Mr. Victor, so who is to be blamed for all
leadership? Bad leadership. We are here playing politics. We are here talking politics of politics. This one say this one say that. Treason. Oh, not treason. But the main thing about leadership, these guys have not taken into consideration. Why am I saying that? Because it is not even rocket science at the end of the day. Because Nigeria is a blessed nation. In the world economy, to improve economy, there are some factors you need to check. For you to see a thriving economy, if you go back and check in details, find out that those economies, they have things that we do not even have. Where can I start from? Let me start with the United States. America. As big as United States, which we are copying their democracy, but when you come to other parts of their goodwill and good messages and good tidings, we don't. Nigeria is blessed with natural resources. The USA has oil. We have oil. Aside oil, what about other natural resources? Limestone, even the coal, even iron. As in, name them. What about arable land? Mind you, Americans are still farmers. In fact, the food that America produces, they cannot even finish it. In fact, Siri, do you know that they corn, oka? What did they call it in Yoruba that the Tinubu people, abado? Is it not abado? That they can't even finish it. That it gets so surplus that they throw in their excessive corn down to the sea.
Wow.
Yes. In fact, they can't use all the corn that they produce. So what they do, they throw it back to the sea. They throw it inside the sea so that their fishes can eat.
Wow.
My brother, in Nigeria, human being never chop. Now fish go chop. So if you come to agriculture, if you say we want to invest in agriculture, we have the lands. So what am I talking about? Going back to the factors, we have land, we have labor. Okay, we have natural resources. Oh, this particular fact I want to mention, people don't even take it so important, but we have the weather. In these countries, mind you, they don't even farm as we farm. In some places like Benue State, you keep farming and farming. Even in many parts of this country, it's just that yes, some products end at a particular time. The other time, another product takes over. Okay, we have all these blessings here, but we're having
leadership problems,
countless time. Okay, what about our GDP rate? It has not increased.
It is quite surprising and alarming that a country like Nigeria, with so much natural resources, will be lacking in so many fronts. It's quite alarming.
Some persons will ask, what has happened to our GDP growth? Our GDP growth has not really moved forward compared to what is happening in other climes. And mind you, yes, even our GDP, when you come to the full GDP, you find out that yes, we are running a GDP of $500 billion. It sounds crazy. Egypt is running about $400 billion. You'll be like, wow, Nigeria is doing 500, Egypt is doing 400. But let me not tell you.
So we should be better.
Eh?
So we should be better.
Yes,
now.
We are better. People will say, we are better. But we forget that Egypt has a population half the size of Nigeria. So when you start sharing that GDP per capita, you find out that Nigeria is hovering around 2,000 per person. Are you getting me? What am I trying to say? I'm trying to tell you that we are producing in technicality. It means that you'll be producing $2,000 every year. You should be having about 3,000 going through you. Every 2,000 going through you every year. Okay, same thing with me. Same thing with every Nigerian where you share that 500 billion. Okay, but now in Egypt, it is not the same. Egypt is about 3,700. Are you getting me? Okay. So Nigerians, we have high GDP, gross GDP when you gather it up together. But at the end of the day, how does it come down to the people? But now let me also now tell you that Denmark we have higher GDP, okay, but when you now share their own, we have higher GDP by gross, but when you now share it to the people in Denmark is doing $60,000 per head per every human being in Denmark. You are seeing as huge as $60,000 per capita on that person's head.
So, Mr. Victor, just shortly before we draw the curtain on this particular headline, do you think all of this right now relates to the reason why the Nigerian government were refused, or should I say denied, of another loan from the Chinese?
Oh, coming to the Chinese.
Yes, because they were about to collect another loan again and then they were refused, they were declined.
Coming to the Chinese, they are doing us a whole lot better
because they are making us understand that we have to think within ourselves and improve ourselves, right? Why
they have not, they don't want to, if you go check the documents or the details in this, you find out that they don't have that faith that we can pay up.
Okay? So why keep borrowing?
Also knowing that, see, what if we are borrowing you guys cash, that at the end of the day, you guys are not utilizing this money as well. The Chinese will prefer to come in and run an investment that they can
get the money from.
They can handle. They can be the consortium in charge of handling that investment.
Okay.
Just like telling them, okay, come and build rails.
Okay.
Okay. They know that this particular rail, you sign an agreement that the monies that are coming in will be taking it off. our loans through this way.
Reals.
Are you getting me? But
Okay.
not taking their own money and just give it like that, or you go and do what you want to do. Which we are also saying, those monies, they still put it back to the public sector, not the private sector. And you know that the private sectors are the runners of the economy. So if you are a right thinking Chinese are up there now, they cannot just throw out their monies anyhow, especially for a government that they are already seeing that the party that is running the government might continue in the next 8 years. And they'll be like, come to think of it, there are no proper leadership framework.
There are no signs to show that, okay, maybe, just maybe, this monies could actually be returned in future.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And lastly, let's also mind ourselves that the Chinese also want to recuperate their money from Africa. But at the end of the day, they spend so much in Africa, and many of these debts that
have not been paid.
Have not been paid, and some are heading towards bad debt. Look at Zambia, look at Ethiopia, look at Angola. Angola is the #1 country that is owing China, I think, about 25 billion or thereabouts. Then you have Ethiopia maybe around 3rd position. But yes, in the case
I feel ashamed. I feel ashamed knowing that we are owing this much as a nation.
and mind you, lastly, it is not a bad thing to borrow. But the problem now is the money you are borrowing.
You're not even making
What are
good
you
use of
using
it.
it for?
You're not making good use.
Yes.
That's the problem.
Yes. Yeah, you cannot borrow to eat or borrow to pay salaries.
What is, you can borrow to invest to make more money. It's God. Well, anyways, let's just move straight now to the Guardian newspaper, where there are more interesting headlines. And this one here on page 3 says, Buhari undertakes last official trip to Saudi Arabia, salutes Dangote at 66. Buhari undertakes last official trip to Saudi Arabia, salutes Dangote at 66. All right, that's on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. Over now to page 6, we have at 95. Struggle continues for a better Nigeria, says Adebanjo on page 6. At 95, struggle continues for a better Nigeria, says Adebanjo on page 6 of The Guardian. On page 15 now, we have World Bank sees 2% output growth in 2023. World Bank sees 2% output growth in 2023. I beg your pardon, that's on page 15 of The Guardian. And over now to page 2. This one says, at 80, Biden considers re-election in 2024. At 80, Biden considers re-election in 2024. That story is on page 2 of the Guardian newspaper. And over now to page 4. This one says, private school operators and burden of multiple charges. Private school operators and burden of multiple charges. That story is on page 4 of the Guardian newspaper. And lastly, for today in the Guardian, we have on page 6, this one says, Nigeria's industrial base weaker over poor credit support from banks. Nigeria's industrial base weaker over poor credit support from banks. All right, I think we already discussed this in the previous paper. Okay, so Mr. Victor, I'd like to get your reaction to a headline on page 3, which says, talks about our president visiting Saudi Arabia, his last official visit to Saudi Arabia, and him saluting Dangote at 66.
Okay, his last visit, and he's gonna stay 8 days. Yeah, 8 days. He's leaving today. And what are the significance of this trip? The significance of this trip is that Saudi Arabia is one of his major destinations. As some people will say, as a traveler. But when you look at the necessity of going to Saudi Arabia, yes, this time around they say he's going for both work and for prayers. He's going to pray.
Work. Wow.
And
okay.
for the lesser pilgrimage that's around the corner. So he'll be going there. But you know, ask, what are the cool things that we are gaining from this relationship with Saudi Arabia? I think, we can see it all clearly that we are exporting the little resources that we have here to Saudi Arabia because of religion, okay? Which we also know, yes, Nigerians also go to Lebanon, Nigerians also go to Israel, Nigeria also go to different parts of the Egypt to have their pilgrimages and worship their gods, okay? But aside that to ask, what other things, as a president, what other investments have you brought to this nation by various trips that you have embarked?
Because ever since
Somebody
since he got into power, it's been from one traveling to another, traveling
Yes.
here and there,
Yes.
and now he's about to make another travel.
Let's not also forget that Obasanjo was also a traveler. Yes, Obasanjo was a traveler. But his own case, one can say that during his trips, he was able to get debt cancellation for the country.
Okay.
Yes, he really played a big part there. One can say, okay, yes, his traveling's paid off.
Okay.
But in terms of our presido, you ask the question, all these your travels,
Alpha.
what are the impacts to the economy? You've gone to, in fact, if you say the top five times country that he has been to, the country that he has visited over 5 times, Saudi Arabia is there. You now ask the question, what investment have you been able to bring to your people? The United States, he has done United States trip more than 5 times. The United Kingdom, which we know that it is his hospital, that is where he goes for medical checkups and medical care. Which also, even his aides have come out to say yes, for the first time that his health challenges really affected his productivity as a president. You now ask, in better climes, you know, when president becomes a president, will leave it for the vice president and go and recover or go take care of himself. But in Nigeria, you know now,
The reverse is the case.
yes. So he has also been to France, and you now wonder, what investment have you brought for us from France? Okay, Nigeria is owing France 500, I think about 500 million. Then if you come to China, okay, which China, okay, look at
Nigeria
even
has been known around the world as borrowers.
Mr. Siri, even the China that we know that Chinese have really invested in Africa. That, mind you, when the president came into power, we were having that talk about having yuan, replacing dollar with the yuan. That's the Chinese currency replacing Chinese currency with the dollar. Okay. After a while, things happen, and that was it. It did not hold water. But yes, if you also check, we are owing the Chinese $4 billion, which also tells you that, see, we are having strong relationship with those people. But yes, he has also visited them twice. But what am I saying? This is not just even about visiting. How many times have you visited or not at the same time? But yes, we also expect that when our president is going out for such visits, it's either he is solving a matter or he is bringing an investment to the country. Like we see where it happened when in Africa, where he always, in fact, the Buhari regime has made us have a very closer brother in the name of Niger, where we know that the former minister of transportation, Amechi, has been really criticized. Even the news has been coming up here in Rivers State since they played their politics that he left Rivers State, he's supposed to bring in investment to Rivers State, but he's taking it to Niger. Remember, there is a train that ends at Niger, I think from Kano or Kaduna. Okay, so when you look at all these trips, you just begin to wonder, this government that has stayed up to 80, what goodies have you really brought to us as citizens of this country through these trips? So that is it, man.
The story becomes even more sad when you take a look at the fact that Nigeria as a country, Nigeria as a nation, has what it takes to, be, should I use the word, be its own boss. Nigeria has the capacity, they have the intellectuals in it, the brains to be our own boss. But over the world, we have been known as borrowers and owers of huge debts. And when we are going to pay these debts, nobody knows. And it's only a matter of time before these countries come knocking for their payments or their debts. And I think our popular customer is the China. And who knows, they may just come and say, okay, because of debt problems, we own this part of Nigeria for now. It's very possible.
No, they didn't sign such an agreement.
We know, but
yes, there are still some clauses when you err in paying back all those debts, and it can be very, very.
You understand?
It can be very, very.
Because you can't keep owing and owing without any signs of trying to pay back. It now becomes obvious to the lender that lended you the money that, oh, you don't want to pay. It's obvious you don't want to pay. It's obvious you want to keep borrowing. Okay, fine. I think we have to do it the hard way now. Oh yeah, where is the money? Or So I pray we don't get to that level. We'll go on a quick break right now, and when we return, we'll continue from where we stopped. Please stay tuned.
Hey there, are you looking to record your videos, do your voiceovers, and take your professional pictures? Look no further. With our state-of-the-art newsroom, photography, kitchen for our food content creators, and exclusive children's studio, we certainly can deliver the best studio experience. Our carefully designed studio space can bring your diverse creative content ideas to life. We aim to consistently serve value to our customers far and wide. Come, let Tharv Media give life to your dreams. Tharv Media, a slice of infotainment.
Hello and welcome back. Still on the newspaper review here, we shall be looking at this day newspaper. This one says, this particular headline here says, with 50 days to go, Buhari defends choice of service chiefs. With 50 days to go, Buhari defends choice of service chiefs. Okay, knocks cooker again, insists cleric cooks only bad news. Wanton killings remain Buhari's lowest points, states Adeshina. His ailment was a setback, presidency admits. All right. And this particular headline here says, INEC replies APP, says electronic collation of results not mandatory. That story is on page 8 of this day newspaper. INEC replies APP, says electronic collation of results not mandatory. Okay. And another headline here on page 5 says, IMF, World Bank urge Nigeria, others to provide targeted financing to SMEs. IMF, World Bank urge Nigeria, others to provide targeted financing to SMEs. That story is on page 5 of this day newspaper. And this one here says on page 10, Obi, mission to rescue Nigeria will come to fruition. Clerk, Lai Mohammed's US trip increasing political tension. Okay, I go again. Obi, mission to rescue Nigeria will come to fruition. Clerk, Lai Mohammed's US trip increasing political tension. Okay, that's the much we can take on this day newspaper for today. Mr. Victor, please let me get your reaction to Obi's statement. Him saying the mission to rescue Nigeria will come to fruition. That's Obi saying.
Well, his faith is still looking like a man of hope.
Is the situation right now to rescue the mandate looking any brighter or is looking dimmer?
From my own little understanding, I'll use the word little understanding. I think they have a point, especially the Labour Party and the person of P2B, especially when he's talking about the candidacy of Ahmed Bola Tinubu, whether he is he's the right candidate, whether he dotted his I's and crossed his T's. Okay, because they talked about the drug issue, and that's him forfeiting over $400,000 for drug issues. And when you go back to what happened yesterday, just yesterday, find out that some pressed companies like Daily Loud, okay, they came out yesterday to talk about Tinubu and his
drug problems
and his drug challenges. Okay, so it's looking like the whole place is getting littered up, especially when it comes to that drug case, because if it's really true, that might just be it. And okay. Some Nigerians out there will be like, come to think of it, we don't have the right, the true lawyers, or will I say judges, that can
stand firm on the truth.
Yes.
And take it out.
Yes, but they need to know, as in the Labour Party need to know, they need to prove their case to beyond reasonable doubt.
Okay.
For the judge to...
So with the way things are going right now, Mr. Victor, do you see it as a possibility, given the body language of INEC, right now, Mahmood, not flinching a bit, not acting like anything is going on. He's just waiting for the time to come where he they inaugurate what's his name, Ahmed Bola Tinubu as new president of Nigeria. With the look of the body language of INEC and its leader right now, do you see it as a situation that might just change at the end of the day, or it's just another disaster waiting to happen?
The body language you're talking about, I think I will also relate it to the fact that some other opposition parties, okay, the PDP and the APC, have been on their voices that INEC has not been corresponding or has not been fair to them with respect to the rulings of the court mandating the parties to have the freedom to go and check sensitive materials. So they have complained about that. No way. Now, also let me deviate a bit in Rivers State, where you know that at the INEC office, where you know that the Labour Party and the APC, the APC this time around, because they are not the rulers of the state. The state has been a PDP state, so it's showing that from their reactions, you'd be like, is it that INEC is working for the PDP in the state? Because they are like, come to think of it, that they have not been allowed to handle sensitive materials. And I had a moment on Sunday with the Labour Party State Assembly candidate, okay, who confided in me that the INEC have been working with the PDP in the state, okay?
Wow.
Yeah, it could be, it is his own point of view. Okay, so what did he also mention? He also mentioned that
did he state why? Did he state why that is?
He did not state why. I did not hear him state why, but he also stated that the PDP are using their influence to make sure that nobody gets close to the sensitive material, especially the beavers in the state. So that they have been fighting to go through to get the beavers, but no, they are not letting
Which
them.
further creates more suspicion.
Get the beavers.
Why are the beavers only accessible to the APCs?
Well, this period too is a period of propaganda.
Yes.
Okay. I'm sure that some other opposition parties have had access to the beavers. Okay. But at the same time, I would like to play safe to say that it is only for the ruling party. Okay, because I am also sure that some other states, INEC chapters, will be able to come through and give it to them. Look at what how significant or how good the INEC returning officer in Abia State, how she did her thing, Professor Nenna, how she did her thing, and Nigerians were like, wow. So they could have an INEC ad hoc staff that can hold her ground, okay? With respect to, we know what happened in Rivers State, and the Rivers people, just like Yakubu, Nigerians are really going against Yakubu. Yes, but in Rivers State, we can tell from what the atmosphere is here that many people in Rivers State do not trust the INEC in Rivers State. But yes, like
is it just a Rivers State?
Yeah, I'm just. A
lot of persons who think it's a national something.
I'm just segmenting it down to Rivers State. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But yes, we wish P2P the best. But yes, some people might also be like, come to think of it, P2P came 12th position from the result, and that's what people say. But we also know that personally, I know that those results were sham.
Doctored, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Victor, for your time with me on the program today. I really appreciate it. And I also appreciate you, my wonderful viewers, who have been faithful to the screen up until this time. I want to say thank you, because without you, this program wouldn't have been possible. Without you, we won't be here today. Well, this is the end of the newspaper review for today. Thanks so much for watching. Please, if you have not subscribed to this channel, make sure you do so. And after subscribing, do well to turn on the notification bells so you get notified when we drop new videos online. You could also check us out on social media platforms, different social media platforms. You could check us out on YouTube, we're TAF TV on YouTube. On Instagram, we are TAF TV_NG. On Facebook and Twitter, we're TAF TV. My name is Cyril Aloysius once again, and this is me saying a bye for now until we come your way again next time to enjoy the rest of your day.